Hello everyone, and welcome back to Shadows Over Loathing. As the ambience and the scenery would showcase, we are in the Chapter 4 area, The Big Moist. And this song is just as badass as it was before. Examining that signboard there, we've got Largemouth Bass and Sons for missing people, Mob Submarine for, you know, the mob, and Moonshiner's Shack, which I don't remember how we got that location. This also means new episode, it's time for new boots. I like floating. Let's float above the sticky water. How you doing, Gabby? I think the way companions work, without having looked up anything or anything, just based on how it's been working so far, I think every new chapter they can, like, advance their story. So presumably, if we get to the end with Gabby, the last chapter, we can advance that story, and then we can, like, go back, choose another companion, just do random encounters to advance all their stories, but I'll have to look that up to know precisely how it works. Did I not go talk to Rufus? Huh. Let's go talk to Rufus really quick. Sorry to suddenly dip out of the moist. I thought we already talked to Rufus. Fix the reactor again. We've done that one before. Hey, bud. Oh, hello again! So what's the next step? I don't have to go back in the sewers, do I? Oh no, this is much, much more straightforward. Oh, well, your part of it will be anyway. That's what I like to hear. I need some way to broadcast a quantum signal from this fishman pearl over as broad an area as possible. And I figure the most robust transmission network available is the commercial radio band. The nearest broadcast tower is the Radio Shack at WGCR in the Big Moist. Okay, what do I do there? Radio Shack. Just take this transmitter I built and plug it into their console. This will transmit a special frequency out over the radio. And then I just need a bunch of different test readings so I can adjust the signal for latency, data loss, and so forth. You don't really understand what this machine does, but Rufus asked you to hook it up to a different machine that you also don't know what it does. All you have to do is find as many random radios as you can, tune into WGCR, and use this receiver to test the transmissions. At least 10 different radios should be enough. Let's call it 11 just in case. I'm not sure what this receives, but whatever it is, it's important to Rufus. Okay, so we're going to take the transmitter first to the Big Moist place. Then we're going to go and find every radio we can. We know there's one at the mine, but that's the only one I can think of. But okay, then it's just hunting down radios. We can do that. Alright, back to the Big Moist, presumably with a new location. Yes, the Radio Shack. Let's do proximity. We're gonna go to the Moonshiner's Shack. Oh dear. You slog through the swamp. Your slog through the swamp is interrupted by an unfortunately familiar face. Halt, interloper! Your pernicious interference ends here. Aw, jeez, not you again. Indeed, it is I, and I will give you even more cause to regret this encounter. You may have thought yourself clever, hiding in the Institute, where the Dean's wards would protect you from our attentions. But now that you've left that protection behind, and furthermore encroached on the source of our power, you have made yourself extremely vulnerable. I'm just looking for my uncle. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about the Dean, or your plans, or these weird dreams, or any of it. Regardless of these claims, you will not leave this place unscathed. Quite the opposite. So, like, scathed? Indeed. Well, fine. I'm not scared of an accountant. What are you gonna do, embezzle me to death? Terrence pulls a gun out of his jacket. I've decided to balance these books in a more direct fashion. Swell. Yeah, I'll fight him. Yeah, you're gonna face the wrath of my mosquito buddy. Don't mind my self-induced lightning. Terrence Poindexter for 16, and then absorb power from his shadow functionaries, eh? Well, we start the battle with 4 AP, so I can really just spam this if I want. The fact that you're here is a little annoying. Because he might target you instead. Well, that's a good start. Acceptable. Once you attack any of the ones you've already attacked. I'm pretty okay with that. How about you do it again? Nice. I'm gonna do one more on both of those, actually. Oh, okay. That's fine, I can take out the last one myself. It's gonna go like that. Now what power are you going to absorb? Bucko? Buckaroo? Buckstuffer? That's right, your ears are gonna bleed at how good my saxophone playing is. Slap him, Gabby! Interesting that the spider remains, but the other two disappeared completely. Dang it. Sorry about that. Here's what we're gonna do. Jazz hands. Jazz hands. And... honk. This will be sufficient data. You won. Terrence scuttles away with a "you haven't seen the last of me" or some such cliche. Cool. Do you want to leave this terrible shack behind and try to find an even worse place? Do I? There's a chaotic mess of animal tracks leading in all directions. You identify several sets of tracks leading away from the cabin. I see. This rotten stump is crawling with worms, and the worms are crawling within it. That tracks. It's a ramshackle cabin, or maybe a ram cabin shack. This pod has been demoted from soup to chamber. Bluck. Whoever was here last must have left in a hurry. There's still a poker game in progress. You draw cards until you beat all the hands that were left on the table, then you collect your winnings. That's totally how that works. There's a spare car tire leaning against the wall here. The tread pattern on this tire identifies it as a Lincoln, which sounds like an impressive piece of deduction, but honestly the top hat and beard were a dead giveaway. A couple of soggy bedrolls. It's full of ashes, but they're cold. Seems like nobody has been here for a while. Alright. A rusty old fire-powered still. Pretty sure these aren't meant to be operated indoors. There's nothing in this jar though. I see. Alright. Then let's check out these tracks. Hey, one of them matches the tread pattern of that spare tire you found. Kinda want to follow all of them. Follow the tire tracks until you lose track of them in the water near a partially submerged cave. You start following the badger tracks, but after a few minutes you realize that this course of action might culminate in you encountering an actual badger. So you change your mind. Terrifying animals, just absolutely the worst. You follow the cat tracks, but after a few minutes they lead up a tree you're not willing to climb. I guess if I'm being honest, it's really a tree you're not capable of climbing. I was just trying to preserve your dignity. Oh, and I appreciate that. Follow the human footprints. They lead to, let's call it, an improvised latrine a few yards away from the cabin. You decline to investigate further. Hey, cool. You You follow the cow prints to a big hole in the ground, next to which lie a pair of shoes with fake cow hooves nailed to the soles. Huh. Wooden sandals with carved hooves on the bottom. Wearing these would be a real fashion statement. Specifically, I do not understand fashion. I suppose. Looks like we're gonna have to put those on a sec. Follow the horse tracks. You follow the horse tracks to some water, but you don't drink it. I mean, why would you? It's nasty swamp water. I see what you did there, game. You follow the duck tracks, which lead you through a lengthy sequence of locations that are of zero interest to non-ducks. Cool. So now we can go to Moonshiner's Cave. Find a cluster of veiny, muscular-looking cattails. If you know your plants, which you do, that means they're chock full of strong, sinewy fibers. Powerful grit. Fishy, you can't tell me what to do. Oh yeah, that's right. I think the effect is lost when we're walking in water, but it kind of just seems like regular walking. This must be referring to the deeper water that's way over to the right. Disobey. Nice, you caught a greenish-brown muck eel. And some extra meat on the line. A slithering pukefish. A revolting snapper. Are you sure you want to leave? This swamp probably doesn't have anything more interesting to offer than this tree with a big hole in it. Somebody's old campsite, and it looks trashed. Amidst all the garbage strewn about, you find a shiny 7/8 combination wrench with CW painted on the side. Charles's wrench. As a clue to help you find him, turn to Charles when you find him. That blue really looks weird for some reason. That's strange. Obviously this belongs to Charles, but he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who'd lose one of his tools carelessly, nor the kind of guy who'd leave trash around his campsite. You look around more carefully and discover weird tracks in the mud. Big clawed bipedal tracks. Maybe Gatormen tracks? And there's a spot where some kind of scuffle clearly happened. Knowing this game, it's probably going to be a comical misunderstanding and he's actually friends with them. Oh jeez, well that tears it. Charles Wallace must have gotten kidnapped by Gatormen. Maybe he dropped the wrench on purpose to attract your attention. Hopefully you can find him soon. So we can close this instead of reaching inside. Which just gets us XP instead of an item, I think. That's fine, I'll take the XP instead. This Ford truck has been fitted with Lincoln tires. That's a little ominous. Ah, I get it. A couple of shady-looking characters furtively skulking in this cave. This part of the wall is shiny. These Gatormen have gotten into someone's stash of hooch. They're popping the bottle caps off with their teeth, guzzling down the contents, and just generally having too much of a good time to take notice of you. Hi? Hi, hello. Are you Jarvis and Clem Schlitz? No, I'm Clem. He's Jarvis. Shut up, Clem. He might be a pro-y. Oh, I ain't Clem. And I ain't Jarvis. Relax, guys. I just saw the poster at the bus stop and got curious. I'm not gonna turn you in. My name's Sir Codsworth. Oh, phew. Well, that's a relief. Sure is. Good to meet you, Sir Codsworth. Yes, they share a voice. What are you two doing in this weird cave? We got ourselves in a right predicament is what we've done. What happened? Well, me and Jarvis have been brewing up homemade hooch to sell. Been stashing it in the back of this here cave. But we got wind that the pro-ease was on our trail, so we figured we better cheese it. Pull the old 23 skidoo, you know. Come to find a pack of them mean lizard varmints got into the hooch and they won't give it back. We was thinking we'd just take the loss and blow, but we hit another snag. What kind of snag? I went and locked the keys in the trunk. Still don't get why he'd gone and do a fool thing like that for. I told you, it ain't like I went and did it on purpose or nothing. I'll see if I feel like doing anything. Well, I you do have a coat hanger. You got the car unlocked, but your coat hanger gets ruined in the process. I unlocked your truck. Oh dang, that's a load off of my mind. Thanks, pal. I'm driving this time. Yeah, that's fair. Hi guys. They growl at you menacingly, plainly too sozzled to just jump up and attack you. On the other hand, if you get near their booze, that could change in an instant. Wait, what am I looking at here? Oh, you haven't seen a Gatorman yet? Sorry, it's hard to keep track. These are the guys Jessica mentioned, and they're pretty much what you'd expect from the name Gatorman. They're intelligent, upright walking alligators. They have tough, scaly skin, lots of teeth, and pissy attitudes about everything that they aren't already eating. They especially hate intruders, and are the second biggest reason that the swamp isn't a popular tourist destination. The first being, it's a swamp. In any case, these Gatormen are still growling in your general direction. Wow, you guys are really into that baby formula. You must be missing some vitamins or something. Booze good! Wait, baby? Yeah, we feed that stuff to human babies so they grow up big and strong, like me. You hold up your arm and pat a barely visible bicep. Drink booze. Make strong? Humans weak! Hey now, I lived on that stuff when I was a kid, and I'm in peak physical shape. Want to see me do a push-up? I'm feeling pretty good. I bet I could do 2 or 3. The Gatormen are so disgusted by this, they drop the bottles and stomp away without even pausing to beat you up. It's Jarvis and Clem's hooch. What's left of it? This here hooch ain't nothing to shake a stick at, that's for darn sure. Grab a case since you're heading back anyway. Jarvis and Clem can haul the rest themselves. I dealt with the gators. You can get your hooch, at least what's left of it. You hand over the case you picked up. Well, heck, that's great news. Thanks, fellas. Thanks, fella. We'll get to loading the truck in a jiffy. Looks like you guys are good to go? Sure does. Thanks a million, fella. You really saved our bacon. And how? We ain't got much to offer you by way of rewards. Feel free to grab a crate of hooch as a thank you. If you've got a bad case of sobriety, the only cure is a good case of whiskey. Cool. They quickly load the rest of the hooch into the back of the truck and drive away. Unfortunately, you forgot to pay attention to how they get the truck through that weird tree hole. Oh well, maybe next time. This part of the cable is shiny. So it is. Is there something I can do about that? It's almost like the shininess is a physical object I'm running up against when I try and stick to the wall. I guess we'll remember that and potentially come back here later. Oh yeah, let's on dry land. Oh no, we're still in water. I want to see what our footsteps fully look like. Alright, let's do a wander real quick. Oh, do you know what there is? Here? There's mud and, mud. No, not here, nearby. You have to go pretty far before it isn't mud. Yes, but it's a henge. Mud henge. A local tourist attractor. Gabby has read about that, but never went. We'll check it out right now. Welcome to Mudhenge. Ooh, there's some hobo code over there. Can't go around the fence this way, but I could just leave. Ooh, a Moxius Mudbloom. Stylish gel. Someone's going to lose their job at the fence factory. That's rude. Commissions 2 meat per person. I can do that. A very clean booth for such a muddy henge. Welcome to Mudhenge. What is this place? Friend, it's Mudhenge. What's that? It's one of the area's most popular henges. Folks travel from all over to see this mysterious mud. I've heard of Stonehenge. Is it like that? I don't see the comparison. You don't? She sighs. Look, we could talk for hours about Stonehenge. Stonehenge, I didn't mean to hit that. Stonehenge is big, Stonehenge is strong. I've gone over all this. So with respect, what I'm interested in talking about is Mudhenge, which is a formidable monument in its own right, and so much more than A first draft of Stonehenge, as they often sometimes say in the magazines. What's so special about Mudhenge? Special? Well, during the swamp solstice, it's said that the needle of a compass placed upon the central altar will point not to west, but secret west, where lies the thing you need the most. That's special enough for you? When is the swamp solstice? If you're in the swamp, it's pretty much always the swamp solstice. What is secret west? I'm no mystician, but secret west is the direction in which lies that thing your heart is most missing. And it's said that a compass laying on the altar of Mudhenge during the swamp solstice will point to secret west. And that was the object of the Mudhenge Chalhenge. But of course we don't run the Chalhenge anymore. Too hard, too many missing presumed deads. What does that mean? That thing your heart is most missing? Well, it's kinda up to you. Up to your heart, that is. Could be a secret crush, the new job, maybe just a piece of bread. I know what my wallet's missing. More meat. Careful now. You're starting to sound like the legendary Midas, and we all know how that story goes. He ate so much money, he exploded in an Italian restaurant. Fair? Well, and why wouldn't you? It's the best and most mysterious end to the side of the border. Admission is too mean. What border? I believe it's all of them. And I'll pay for anything I can do for free. Thinking about hopping the fence? Sure, go ahead. But there's one thing you haven't counted on. You won't have the informational brochure that comes with your ticket. Fair. I knew you wouldn't be able to come all this way without seeing the famous Mudhenge. Here's a pamphlet that goes over just about everything we know about the history of this ancient monument. A short brochure complimentary with your admission to Mudhenge. Charles Wallace, about my height, similar build. Another missing person? Person? I didn't mean to presume. Just a lot of folks here have a habit of walking in a Mudhenge and never coming out. And that's why we don't promote the Mudhenge Chalhenge anymore. But it's that very real risk of going missing that makes Mudhenge such a popular destination for tourists. Tourists want to go missing? Oh sure, folks get their thrills in different ways, but in the end we all gotta get 'em. Me, I like to make earrings out of live scorpions. Is that dangerous? Mostly for the grasshoppers on my shoulders, but again, they need the thrill. So have you seen Charles? Sorry, couldn't tell you. Folks don't always leave a name when they visit. Don't have a guest book? Used to. Then one night it wandered into the Mudhenge and never came back. Okay, so where's the gate? Like, I bought admission. How do I officially get in? Is the only way to get in seriously to hop the fence? Wow. Alright, let's take a look at... Can I do anything with this? No. At this. Little is known about the history of Mudhenge. Wow. 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 Absolutely scammed. Absolutely scammed. Fair enough, though, honestly. Ooh. Whoa, that was weird. Indeed it was. According to this, there's an old boxcar nearby that the railroad company abandoned when it sank into the swamp. Sounds interesting. That does actually sound really interesting. Okay, so these link. Where did I enter from? Like right here, right? How do we even leave this place? I guess we have to use the map, eh? What's that over to the east? Oh, hello. This crazed Gatorman appeared out of nowhere and is chomping at the bit to make sure you're nowhere 5 minutes from now. Sure. Beat you up. Oh, where's Gabby? Gabby did not follow us. Gatorman Mush Muncher is going to munch a mushroom which will have unpredictable effects. How about you go do that? The Gatorman rallies for another round, but a hand rises from the swamp and drags him down screaming. Oh dear! A backpack stashed in the swamp is certain to contain illicit material. Parental guidance is advised. There's a complete change of clothes in the sack and a black embossed card sticking out of the back pants pocket. Drowned Mary's crown is buried past the huge tower. The nudist creed. Nothing is worn, everything is visible. Assassin's Creed. You elect to leave everything in the bag where you found it. Nothing is your size anyway. Interesting. Does it change depending on which direction I enter from? I don't think so. Also, I don't think anything else is happening. Oh, hello. Hey! Maybe I shouldn't be so hasty when I go through these. Okay. Hey! Interesting. Probably meant to go through these in a very specific pattern. Alright, I can maybe look into this later. Let's get out of here for now. Sunken boxcar. Don't mind if I do. What you take to be a giant bleeding tooth jutting out of a tree stump turns out to be one of those mushrooms that just looks like a giant bleeding tooth. Cool. Well, I think Gabby's ready to advance. Oh, because we lost her. Yeah. How'd you find me? Gabby thought real hard about where you are mostly to go, and then chose by random. Cool. Sorry about that. An observation. It's time to locomote your caboose somewhere else. Whatever you say, coach. Oh, those are our tracks. This looks very dangerous. Climb in anyway. Oh, I love that we're slanted. You were perplexed by the hobo's decision to sleep with his head pointing downhill. This would fail a railroad safety inspection for at least 2 reasons. These poetry books are all full of slant rhymes. Everything has, predictably, fallen off this table. It's a diagonal hobo, although I suppose from your perspective, he looks normal. Ha, we're all speaking in italics, I love it. Oh hi, sorry I didn't know anyone was living here. I suppose I should stop being surprised by that. That's quite alright. I'm Pepperidge Dolphin. Welcome to my humble abode. Thanks. I'm Sir Codsworth III. Nice boxcar you've got here, apart from it being a little steep. Steep? Oh, yes. You know, I've grown so accustomed to the tilt, I hardly notice anymore. Apart from when I tried to play marbles. Your game must be really going downhill. Yes, quite. Your accent is different from most hobos I've met. Well, my family is from old money, you see. How old? Old enough that it all turned to dust. All that remains is a rambling old manor house that I can't afford to maintain. So I decided this would be a splendid opportunity to expand my horizons. The horizon is typically a bit more level. Well, to be honest, it's been difficult to part with the old estate. And this is as far as I've been able to get before the homesickness becomes overwhelming. Oh, how bittersweet. Indeed. I wonder, could you spare the time to help me? I could be done with the place if I had a proper souvenir. Specifically, my father's collections of antique padlocks. You can't get them yourself because of the memories? It's more a lack of memories. It's more a lack of memories. I've forgotten where the keys are. Sure, I'll help you. Thank you. There are 11 locks altogether. Except they won't actually be all together, will they? I'm afraid not, no. Here, I'll mark the location of the house on your... Is this a sponge? There's also something I should tell you about the house. I just wanted to let you know that there aren't any ghosts haunting my property. There aren't any? That's correct. Not a one. My family never suffered any violent or traumatic deaths. This is something you felt you had to warn me about? Not really a warning as such, I just thought you might like to know. Huh. Well, okay. Thanks. Be right back with your 11 padlocks. That's cool. All the way up there, eh? Let's at least go to the Radio Shack so we can start plugging into radios that we find. Distant frog sounds become less distant frog sounds as you find yourself very close to a lot of frogs. We'll do that later. These bricks have been inexpertly mortared together. Ah, those bricks were there to cover up the fact that this brick was missing. The lamest conspiracy ever. Indeed. Red fern. That usually means there's a lot of dog blood in it. Another one of those Gatormen campsites. Maybe the ones who kidnapped Charles came this way? The campsite is similar to the previous one. A lot of Gatormen tracks and a lot of discarded trash. These Gatormen sure are sloths. You'll also find a 15-16 inch combination wrench labeled CW. Looks like you're on the right track at least. Alright, well that is Nito Burrito. Oh, hello. There's a couple of pieces of tape stuck to one of the bricks here. The 2 holes you've opened in the walls are letting swamp water in, and also out again. You might expect them to cancel each other out, but I guess not. Fluid dynamics are a mystery to me. There's some guys hanging out with here looking stoic and cool, and also a Gatorman with more than the usual allotment of teeth. Hi, who are you guys? We are radio technicians. Why are you standing here in the dark? Why not? It is radio. There is nothing to see. Well, you got me there. That machinery looks weird. Are you speaking of the battery units that appear to be powered by outer space? Or some form of negative energy? Or something like that? Yeah, that's strange, right? They are not standard issue, it is true. So what? I cannot tell you any more about them. So what's this stuff for? Oh, it's the questions. Sorry, I have a curious nature. I will not reveal to you our employer's plans. Their plans to use this equipment to broadcast her voice across this country once she has assumed full control of the government. Oh, please. No, stop asking. Shucks. Hey, about this water. What about it? I just wanted to point out that it isn't stagnant. It's flowing from one side of the room to the other. Ugh! Running water! One of our several very common weaknesses! Water burning! Irony terrible! The vampires make for the door, but get in each other's... Oh, right, running water. I see. Vampires make for the door, but get in each other's way and dissolve into ash that is quickly washed away. Yeah, that's my reaction. They were vampires? I did not get that either. Apparently this machine is powered by evil, or at least weird. If you don't know what this console does, but it's any consolation, nobody really expects you to. There's nothing on this table. I guess it just looks cooler to stand around a table than just arbitrarily around the room. Were these guys sharing one bed? Wait, why isn't this a coffin? Wow, this thing is pretty cool. It also looks very lightweight. Carefully pocket the zappy orb thingamajig. Can you believe this is a thing that was invented in the past and not approximately 60 years from now? That zapping orb thing. There's a to-do list here with a single entry. Guard the radio equipment. You erase the check mark. It isn't important to look good if you're on the radio. So this sink has a first aid kit instead of a mirror. Oh cool, these are decent. Okay. The radio people were probably saving this stuff in case anyone ever invents video and they have to go to war. A toilet, thankfully devoid of any broadcast features. How are we doing for XP? 304. There's nothing else we can do there. So yeah, it's all just book learning. That's more media expertise. We could probably get that maxed out. But I'm okay to leave that for now. Let's upgrade Jazz Hands. You hold on tightly to the book, letting it shake your hands until you become worried that you'll also develop a case of jazz eyes. You go to put the book back in your sack, but your shaky hands cause you to drop it into a bonfire instead. Ah well. That's the cat alright, but it ain't the cream. Revolting. How could they print that? Ah, we can keep going, okay. Not just yet, then. I'm going to describe this as dryly as possible because you clearly don't deserve jokes anymore. You study the chart and improve your skill. Soothing flute has been upgraded. You discard the book in a non-humorous way. Well, man, rude. So I think these are meant to be upgraded, like, a lot. So we're not going to worry about them. Same for those. We'll upgrade our, like, skills first. Oh, hey. I see. So we make cowbell and cow mooing sounds as we walk. That makes sense. You plug in Rufus's gadget and the console starts emitting a different series of beeps than it was emitting before. There you go, bud. Now we just need to find 10 radios. Alright, hit up the mob submarine, I guess. What the? Where did you get this, Gabby? Gabby was found a great big frog. It turned inside out and had this all inside it. I don't... What? I know, right? Okay. This place seems suboptimal. Go elsewhere? Through this porthole, you can see the darkness inside a submarine. In a way, a submarine reflects the darkness inside all of us. Through this porthole, you can just barely make out a chart on the wall of the submarine. You strain your eyes, but the chart is either slightly too far away, the submarine is slightly too dark, or some combination of those two factors. Years of study have taught you how to deliberately damage your eyes in order to learn things. Those years of study finally pay off as the text on this chart reveals itself. Torpedo tube pressure, 19 psi. Ah, good old 19 psi, classic pressure value. Code reads, disappointing lack of sandwiches inside. Ah well, forewarned is forearmed, I guess. This control panel has a big dial on it labeled internal pressure. It's a hatch leading to the submarine's lower levels. Hatch leading back outside. It's a periscope, which is a device for looking at guys named Perry. No Perrys on the horizon today, Captain. Hatch is labeled torpedo, including the period. The wheel on the hatch is stuck fast. No amount of grunting or straining will make it go round and round. The submariners must have used their extra steam to do their laundry. This washer contains a very nasty hat. There's nothing more aggressive than a sailor who's angry that their hat is all gross. The back half of the submarine is blocked by an impenetrable tangle of roots. This pipe is unclogged. There we go. A dancing Russian plumber's favorite and least favorite thing. Adds a kick when you're rushing places, so we'll probably caustic dance our way around. Well, that's for next episode then. 19 psi? Hear a small burst of steam as the pressure changes. You open the torpedo tube and recover the mob's shipment of booze. There's a snake in the bottom with instructions to cut it up into worms if you're redistributing the tequila into bottles. Okay, was that it? Tell me you recovered the booze. Okay. $11 seems to be this chapter's favorite number. Oh wait, if I leave here, will there be prohees? No prohees. Alright, let's head. This is very main quest, it feels like, so we're doing other things. Let's go to the frog bog. All of a sudden, you hear a Gatorman screaming wildly to your left. And then just as suddenly, another Gatorman starts screaming to your right. You hear an angry snarl behind you and turn around. Another Gatorman! Oh no! Oh yes. And then you hear someone say "Ugh" behind you. So you turn around again. There's another Gatorman! You're surrounded. Stand very still and hope they leave. Now we'll beat them up. Interesting differences between them. Oh, shielded. Scream mouth. Increasing all of its ally stats by 1 and decreasing your parties by the same amount. Rot tooth. Oh wow, these guys do damage. Rage jerk. And rot tooth. Okay. So we're gonna do that. Broke his shield. Might as well get some heals going. And do mosquito thing. See what we can do. One of them down. And I can definitely decimate you guys, right? Oh yeah. Not at max health, but almost. Not you. Rage jerks are tough. Okay. Well, let's take... Oh, I have one more AP. Get timpanied, bitch! And honk. Ow. Target this guy for now. Got it irritated though. Ow. Gonna drop a piano on this one. Ooh, nice. That worked out well. And maybe on you too? No. But you can have the timpani. You won! Jeez. Maybe that'll teach them not to sneak up on a guy like that. Gatorman skin pants, not to be confused with Gatorman skin pants. These are pants made of skin and worn by a Gatorman. Not sure what kind of skin they're made of. Nasty pastry. You wouldn't feed this to a dog, though you would throw it at a dog, if the dog was clearly a threat. They drink it, but that doesn't mean they like it. Okay. Certainly a decent quantity of frogs. There's a whole lot of swamp out that way to explore if you want. Hop to it. Buddy, ribbit. The frogs are talking? Clear your throat. There was a frog in it. Haha. Maybe don't use that joke when talking to the frogs, though. Hello, frogs. Frogs? Not frogs. Humans, ribbit. Talking frogs were not on your list of expectations for today. Frogs are not humans, right? I know that. You're frogs, not humans. Yes, I can see that. Wait, are you saying you're humans, not frogs? Right, yes, right. Ribbit, yes. Think about what it would be like to be trapped in a frog's body. After a few seconds, you stop thinking about it, because you don't like thinking about things that fill you with harrowing existential angst. How did this happen? Curse, cave, quarry, curse, cave, quarry, statue, god, ancient quarry, god. Let's see. It's kind of hard to understand you with everybody talking all at once. Could you all stop talking except for one frog? Statue, mind, share, all frogs, single share, frogs, mind. All frogs share a single mind. Wow, that's incredible. This changes, actually you can't think of any significant consequences of what you've just learned. Try to remember the last time you interacted with a specific frog as an individual, and it was, that biology class. Probably best not to bring that up. What's that like for you? Hate it, gross, hate it. The worst sucks, gross, the worst sucks. Okay. Is there some way I can help you? One of the larger frogs hops up to you and coughs loudly. A shiny green object flies out of its mouth and sinks into the water. A gleaming emerald. This is the most beautiful thing a frog has ever barfed at you. You turn back to the frog. What should I do with this? The second frog approaches and belches up a soggy piece of paper. You decide to just look at it instead of touching it with your hand. It appears to be a shipping label from a nearby quarry. Luck, good. Ribbit, luck. I see. Sure. As you're on the way to the quarry those talking frogs want you to go to, you stop to consider how strange the situation you've gotten yourself into is. You're startled out of your reverie by the smell of smoke. You've stumbled upon a recently abandoned campfire. Maybe there's a clue towards where Charles went? Oh, I was forced to go there. That's interesting. It's another Gatormen camp, alright. And there's 4 more wrenches here. A 3132 one, a 6364 one, a 127 128 one, and a 255 256 one. Charles must carry one heck of a toolbox. The wrenches are laid out in the shape of an arrow, pointing toward a nearby hill. From the top of the hill, you can see some sort of fort in the distance, apparently hammered together out of rusty scrap metal. That's gotta be where the Gatormen took him. Grab all the wrenches and combine them with the other ones you dropped to complete the set. That's neat. This place is a little too cramped for your taste. Too camped, you mean. Okay, well that's nice. It's not where I was going, though. Catch a whiff of burnt rubber and see a column of smoke drifting into the sky nearby. As you get closer to the site, you see that a small airplane has crashed into the mud. Or perhaps splatted or glorped into the mud. No! Later! Oh, hello. Heim Quarry, help wanted. There's a note on this door. Drive efficiently. Excess gas use will be deducted from your paycheck. This guy seems a bit, hi there. Rabbit! This might seem like a strange question, but do you know anything about a curse? Rabbit! Your attitude says no, but your everything else says yes. Rabbit! That's apparently nothing. This is either a guy who thinks he's a frog, or the soul of a frog trapped in the body of a guy, or a really good method actor rehearsing for Toad of Toad Hill. Have you seen any cursed frog idols around? He sticks his tongue out as a fly buzzes past and seems confused and disappointed by its length. Oh boy. Okay, good luck. Here's another one of these froggy men. If I asked you if you were a frog trapped in a man's body, would you have any way to answer that question that I would be able to understand? Ribbit. I guess I don't know what I was expecting. Well, I didn't actually want to go in just yet, but that was neat. That's a radio. This lady seems real nervous about something, although the way she's hopping around on the floor makes it difficult to judge her body language in a regular way. Can you tell me, can you communicate to me in some way anything about a curse? Oh jeez, please don't do that thing with your neck. You ever, it like bulges out? That's kind of creepy on a human body. Do it again. Yeah, unpleasant. Presumably these lockers are where the employees keep their personal possessions. That frog lady's watching and seems real agitated, better leave them alone. Some cruel soul turned this radio to static and then walked away. He tuned the radio to WGCR and hold Rufus's gadget up to it. This thing clicks a few times and the little needle on it goes up to 1. Then you restore the radio to the way you found it, making your mom proud. All the oil in the lamp is dried up. Huh, that's so there's only one bed. The S on that bunk side must have been a typo. Okay, what's in the mess hall? The door is locked, so the food won't escape, presumably. This man doesn't look very happy to be a frog, or the other way around, or whatever. Nice suit, you look like a fancy guy. I guess you basically won the frog lottery, huh? The remains of a fancy meal with fancy condiments. Your assumption was correct. It's a bookshelf full of books. It's all books on management, with titles like Shaking the Invisible Hand, You Deserve More, and How to Get Blood Out of the Turnips You Hired. Oh, this one actually looks kind of interesting. Advanced Scalping. Heal target for 5 HP. Nice. A Guide to Productive Frowning. Painting of a safe. Is that meant to be reverse psychology? You push the painting aside and find, surprise, a safe. Unfortunately, it's a key-type safe, and you don't have the key. Not that a combination lock would have been much better, but you could have twiddled the dial and hoped to get lucky. Find a key labeled mess and a gun labeled best in 2 different drawers. This is all that stands between a quarryman and his dinner. Moxie plus 5 physical. This was both the foreman's gun and his wife. I like having it be sleeves though, lest things defend against that. There's some papers and stuff, but none of it seems significant to you. Personnel files for everybody who works at or has ever worked in this quarry. Yes! You give the files a quick riffle through. They tend to be very thin. People who were hired and then quit real fast. There's only a handful of current records and they aren't very interesting. Look up Sir Codsworth III. What? You don't work here. I still don't really believe you worked at that gas station or that restaurant. Look up Sir Codsworth III. Ugh, fine. You flip through the folders and... Holy crap, there you are! Sir Codsworth III. What the heck? Yeah, I get around. I freaking love it. And then, of course, unbelievably, there's your employment file. I have worked everywhere. His hat rack is dressed like a cowboy. Intimidating Stetson. +1 muscle, +1 moxie. When you see a guy wearing a hat like this, you think to yourself, this guy has a good sense of style and is probably about to punch me for no reason. That's a nice hat. I bet mine is way cooler. Look at all that stuff it's got on it. To be honest, I think only some of the maximum HP, maybe a physical armor, come from it being uncursed. What if we were to take you and do all of the things to it? Can't even see the star on it there because it's already black. Wait, did we already have a mildewy sailor's hat? Oh shoot, we did. I don't even remember where we got that, but it's one of the first items we got. I guess I don't have any other things to apply. Yeah, we'll put this beautiful piece of work back on. And what was that about pants we got? We also got the Gatormen skin pants, which are actually pretty decent, all things considered. Anything else new recently that's worth investigating? Yeah, read this. You read the book and really up your frowning game. Not that there's anything fun about anything. Sometimes you get so into the music that the only expression you're capable of making is a rictus of pain. The back page is a bunch of exercises for strengthening your frowning muscles. All 438 of them, according to that old adage. Not just yet. Yeah, do that. You learn that, in addition to harming the savage pectoral muscle, music can also soothe it. You get so relaxed because of your newfound knowledge that you carelessly misplace the book. I think I wanted to upgrade this one next. Yeah. Now I do not know how much I have, but it is less than 100. 87, not much less. You leave the key on the windowsill. As advertised, it's a mess. Ha. From the looks of the crust on these dishes, the food here wasn't very good even before it spoiled. This range doesn't even have a gas line connected to it. I guess you could warm something up to room temperature. This table is swarming with flies. Oh, and we leave cow tracks everywhere we go that look like hoof prints. I didn't notice we were doing that inside. I saw it was outside, but I just thought it was regular footprints. Looks like these people got so hungry they started eating the cabinet drawers. Junk mail and a paperclip. Is that really it? I guess that's really it, okay. Alright, well, before we delve any further into that cursed mine there, I think this is going to be a good spot to leave it off for today. So thank you to everyone for joining me. I hope you had fun. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this and all the cool stuff we have coming up. And I will see you all next time for some more Shadows Over Loathing.